Morning, everybody. How are we doing today? Good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Are you watching from Jamaica? Are you watching from Pakistan? You're watching from Israel? Wherever you're watching from, welcome. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? Are you good? Our number one fan is here. I am Sucre. Good morning to you. Watching us from United States of Ireland. Welcome to today's Read With Me series. Everybody else that will be watching this, wherever you're watching from, welcome. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Showing up to this. Good morning. You showing up for this is saying something about what you want to build for your future. So, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for everybody that was going to be watching this later on. Thank you so much, because we've got to build something good. We've got to build a family. We've got to build a loving. We've got to have joyful relationships. We've got to have joy in our homes, in our families, and in peace in everywhere in our world, so that we can live awesome lives. So welcome to today's show. Thank you so much for joining today. Let us just jump right into it. We are here to read. So, okay. So now, yesterday we were talking about, the on the title of the basics of spiritual intimacy in marriage. The basics of spiritual intimacy in marriage, and we're talking about the reason why we want to have spiritual intimacy in the first place. It's not for us to manipulate our spouse. It's not for us to change our spouse, because nobody can. So, and the last phrase there was talking about the Christian wife. Instead of nagging, because we all fall into we do that. You feel like the husband, probably your spouse, is not doing what you think that the person must be doing, or probably living to the standard that you think that in your mind, in your thought, in your head, and then you feel like you want to spiritually manipulate the person and keep praying, Father, change him, or you keep nagging and complaining and preaching that, it's not this, or it's not spiritually to the level, or whatever. And here the book is saying here that the first weapon, we were talking about that yesterday, just running up yesterday, that the first weapon is the godly life. That do we know that the first weapon is that, calm down from all this nagging, whining, and all these things. Don't have high blood pressure. Just calm yourself down. Let us calm down. And what? Focus on your own life. Focus on your life. Calm yourself down. And lead. You focus on leading a godly life, or living a godly life. And it says that the first weapon is the godly life, which God can use to create conviction and spiritual hunger in our husband. Okay? So I'm not going to expand on that because of our time. The second one says the second weapon is prayer. So we were rounding off on that note yesterday. And it says that the wife that consistently points out things she wants her husband to change makes him defensive and resistant. So if she would only take these concerns to the Lord, appeal to a higher power to act in her husband's life, it's so hard for a man to resist God rather than to resist a nagging wife. Now, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think a nagging spouse? We have a guy here live now. So, what do you think a nagging spouse or nagging woman? What does it do to a man? How does that ruffle his feather? I want to have a different opinion. What is? Put that in the comment section below if you're going to be watching this later on. How does that affect a man? Let us share our thoughts or comments. Well, I would not really like, to be honest. I think anybody, anyways, no one will really like somebody nagging at them every time, or keep to saying things to me every time. I'm like, oh, come on, can you shut up? Can you ever shut up? You know. So I think for both parties, to be honest, I don't think anybody would like anybody talking and nagging and nagging. Like, I've heard it before. Even parents will be telling you things like, I've heard you, you know. So I don't think anybody would like that, really. So second, spiritual intimacy is not about getting God on your side. Your main goal or purpose ought to be taking the focus off of yourself and allowing God to walk in and through you to make your husband more like him. It is not about getting God for you. The wonderful truth about letting God walk in and through you is the reality that He is always for you. He's always for you. I have a comment here from I Am Sukri. It says, I don't have the experience actually, but I perceive that most of the time a nagging spouse must have been pushed to a point where he or she start nagging. That is so true. Yes, that's a very big point right there. Yes, a nagging spouse, whoever it is, might have been pushed, which means over time the other party has not been listening or paying attention to what the person has been saying, and that person has gone to a point whereby they have to be nagging about it. So it's a build-up of unresolved issues, unresolved concerns. You don't just putting it aside or dismissing somebody else's feeling. You know, yeah, that's a good point. You know, dismissing your spouse's feeling, or the person you're in a relationship with, you're constantly dismissing their feeling or dismissing their desires or whatever they want in the relationship. You know, that is also not healthy in our relationship. Then another comment here says, again, a man can close a box of arguments easier than the woman. okay. Most time the woman wants to talk about it, but the man is over it already. I don't think that's very good. However, that's true. I think we're just wired differently. A man and a woman were wired differently. As you said a man closed a box of arguments easier than the woman, and the woman is like, once it's not done in our head, we keep bringing it back and back until we get it done. But a guy can just put it aside, like it's not a big deal, you know. Thank you so much for your points. So let me go on with the reading. It says that I once heard someone say the word intimacy. Intimacy can be divided into 3 words. Into me see. Into me see. Which means you're looking into my heart. You're looking at the desires of my heart. We need to learn to look into the heart of God, so that when He looks into ours, He sees the heart of God in many ways. Ooh. You know, we need to learn to look into the heart of God, even in our relationships, as we relate to one another, whatever we do, so that when He looks into our hearts, He sees the heart of God in many ways. That is deep. Now, I read on. There are 2 main ingredients for spiritual intimacy. What are the things that we need in our relationship in order for us to be able to build spiritual intimacy with our partners? You know, 2 things: safety and honesty. Safety and honesty. Let me type into the comment section. Week 2, episode 6. That is what we're doing. Week 2, episode 6. Oh, thank you. Ayasuki also said, one comment, please. The soundtrack is so lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We just want a cool, kind of calm atmosphere. Thank you so much. So, we're saying here that the 2 main ingredients that we need for spiritual intimacy are safety and honesty. Since spiritual intimacy requires such deep vulnerability. Thank you. So, how do I paint this? Okay, I paint this. Yes. week 2, episode 6. Thank you. So, since spiritual intimacy requires such deep vulnerability, I feel safety is a main issue. In your marriage, now for those that are not yet married, because before you build into marriage, you can't just wake up and say, oh, you find somebody and then you go and marry the person. You must have been in a relationship with the person. So it says that probably in your relationship also, you should feel safe. You should feel safe in that relationship. Your relationship or your marriage needs to be a place where you can both be yourselves. A place where you are free to express your thoughts and concerns without any fear of judgment. That's what we're talking about. That's the kind of relationship we are talking about. Where you are a place where you are free to express your thoughts and concerns without any fear of judgment. You see? One thing is certain. Intimacy would never rise above the level of fear in the relationship. Ooh. Intimacy would never rise above the level of fear in the relationship. Now, what kind of fear could be in that relationship? Fear of probably, if there's secrets, there are secrets. The person is not open, open. Oh, if this person really know who I am, are they going to love me? Fear. You see, that means there's even lack of transparency. Fear of probably being judged, fear of, I don't know, maybe social status, or I don't really know. I don't know. You can put it in the comment section what kind of fear that can arise and can in a relationship, And it says, let me give you a little example. That's what I was saying here. It says, when Tim and I were first married, we would spend all of our summers in Montana. My parents owned 2 businesses and we would work all summer long so we could go back to college and have money to pay for our schooling. Yes, another comment here says, fear of the past. Fear of the past. Thank you for your comment. That's deep. Says that my parents owned 2 businesses and we would work all summer long so we could go back to college and have money to pay for our schooling. I can remember the very first year we were married. We tried so hard to have a spiritual, intimate life together and with my family. One of the first times we prayed together, Tim was leading us, that's my family, in prayer, and he stumbled over his words. Very innocently, I started laughing. It was funny and kind of cute, but what a mistake at the time. I made him feel very uncomfortable. He still remembers it like it was yesterday. Of course, we laugh together about it now, but that's something you do not want to do in a marriage. Fear, or probably just sarcastic. Well, anyway, that one is a bit, that's not really our board. You get a line of thoughts there. But another one, let me just say something on that point. Fear of the past. Fear of the past. The thing is, the relationship, if we want to really build that relationship on a good foundation, we must not be afraid to share our past. We must not be afraid to say who we are. This because we want to be honest. You see, the second ingredient here says honesty is the second main ingredient. So we must be able to open up, because this, what we are building, what you want to build is more than you. What we want to build is more than you. So there's no point in going to that relationship and not laying it bare. Not laying it bare in the relationship. So, and I know that this is a big deal for a lot of people, It's a big deal for a lot of people. It's a big deal for singles. It's a big deal for even married people. In fact, there are some situations, we hear stories that, a man will be fathering somebody or responsible for a child, and 30 years down the line is discovering that he's not the father of that child. 30 years of deceit. So what's the point? What is the point? What are we afraid of? And I think this is where, as single people or whatever, or even married people, we need to set ourselves free from fear. What is it exactly that we are actually afraid of? Life is precious. The air that we breathe is precious. No matter what your past is, no matter what mistakes you have done, no matter what horrible experiences you have acquired in the past, as long as you woke up today and you have the breath of life in you, you have a new opportunity to recreate a new story for yourself. Fear of rejection. Another comment says fear of rejection. Guess what? There's no point to be afraid of fear of rejection. Why? Because I'm already accepted by God, and that is it. That's the bonus point in actually getting God. Because guess what? If you say, "Oh, I'm not good enough for you," or you reject me, you think that I'm rejected. Somebody else that really that means you're not really meant for me in the first place. I'm accepted by God. That's why knowing who God is so important. Embracing Him, embracing the assets that we have in Christ. If you have just given life to Christ, yesterday we led someone to Christ today. Go to Ephesians 1 and read everything that we have in Christ. So, if we have all of these things, if we deal with all of this fear before we enter a relationship, when you get into that relationship, there's a phrase I said, you cannot shame anybody. You cannot shame somebody that is not ashamed. I don't know. We cannot shame somebody that is shamed, that is not ashamed. I don't know how the phrase goes. Please put it in the comment section if you can help me with it. So all of these are the things that we need to walk through, in our relationship, before building a relationship with somebody else, because we want to get it right. These are the things that we are coming into the relationship with, and if we don't get it right, we will just make things very, very tough in that relationship, and things will not work smoothly. So it says there that you need to be willing to express your honest feelings, always in love. Oh, as simple as this phrase is, they always say sometimes, they say, hey, women will be saying, say the truth. That sometimes we are not ready for the truth. Yeah, okay, I'm right. Thank you. That we're not ready for the truth. But to be honest with you, it's so liberating to live in truth, to say the truth, to be honest with yourself. It is so liberating. Life is actually very short. That's what we don't realize. Really. We don't realize that life is actually very short. We don't do that. We put a lot of wahala on our head, thinking that, this, blah, 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 blah. Ama, come on, let us soft pedal. Come on. People, life is short. You cannot be miserable for the rest of your life. Everybody makes mistakes in life. We got to be honest with ourselves. We got to be honest with our reality. We got to be honest with ourselves. You need to be able to be yourself and not to be fake. You need to be able to be yourself and not be fake. It is so liberating, I tell you, to be yourself, to be authentic. Like as I come live now, I'm not under any pressure at all. I am myself. This is what I want today, and I'm here like this, doing my life like this. I am myself. It is so liberating. I am not like, this. If you watch this and you say, maybe your eyebrow is like this, or can you like this? That's the own palava be that. It's so liberating. Be yourself. Be free to be you. Everyone else is taken. Okay? That posture, if you have that, to work on that yourself. If you have that, you bring that into a relationship, and if God help you, the other person too, if the person is also like that, awesome. You guys are living like heaven on earth. That's the life we're talking about. It says, if your spouse is angry or discouraged, then it's your job to model honesty. You need to lead the way, because one person can help change a marriage. We need both safety and honesty to have intimacy. Because if a spouse does not feel safe, he or she will not be able to be honest. The end result then is desire, a spiritual hunger for God together with no substance. Woo. So, are we just going to have a desire for spiritual intimacy in our relationship, or we are actually going to have that spiritual intimacy? Are we going to let lack of safety and lack of honesty to block spiritual intimacy in our relationship? This is a food for thought for you and I today. I'm not going to go ahead with the next point, but I want to pack here today because of our time. Intimacy in our relationships, intimacy in our marriages, building it on safety and honesty. Is your relationship safe? Is it a safe space? Oh yes, we always talk about, I'm looking for a safe space. A safe space, what does that represent? Safe space to share, to be vulnerable with your flaws, with the traps that you have walked. Honesty, as simple as these things that we are saying, how many of us are honest? How many of us create a safe space for people? Or are we a safe space? Is our heart a safe space for our spouse to thrive in? What up? Hey! Revelation Day. Is our heart a safe space for our spouse to thrive in? Is our relationship safe? Are we honest with ourselves? Are we honest in our relationships? These are the take-home message tonight. I said tonight, this morning, this moment, where it might be in the night, anyway you're watching this later on. So, as we do all of this series, it's not just only for us to read them, but to go back, think about them, what we have read, and begin to evaluate our lives and our hearts and see where we are, so that we can get to where we want to get to. So, any questions with regards to today's broadcasts today? Any questions? Please put it in the comment section below, and I will be replying them if you're going to be watching this later on. So, any questions before we go? We have talked about a lot of things today. Talked about a lot of things that block our intimacy, and we've talked about fear also, why we don't open up, because we're afraid, and I said here that if we truly know who we are in Christ, we'll not be afraid of anything else. No matter what your past is, today is a new day. So I'll be closing out now. Thank you so much for joining. I like to keep this short, and when it's short like that, you can just think about it, ponder on it, go back our business, and see how we're doing. So any comments, any thoughts on today before I round off? All good. The message in this video is very deep. Yes. Very, 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 very deep. Very, very deep. And it's important for us to be able to walk through all of these things, because you see, do you know how many relationships are not safe? They are not safe. It is not honest. Oh God, even Africa, all of the relationships, I'm not saying all, let me not put in general terms. So you can just imagine the chaos that we have in our relationship. Everybody just lying here and there, trying to look good to somebody. You're not doing this, and everything's all shades of wrong. All shades of wrong. But if you want to build really, really awesome relationships and marriages, these are the bricks that we need. And it's high time. And this is why this IG life is so good. And even people go back and buy the book also. It's good to get the right knowledge so that we begin to live with the right values. So thank you so much for joining me today. I am Sukri3. And for everybody that will be watching this broadcast, thank you so much for joining me today. And don't forget to live every moment, laugh every day, and love beyond words. I remain Abiola Ogumale. Enjoy your day, everybody. Have a lovely day, okay? And may the peace of God be with you. May the joy of God go with you everywhere you go and give you peace all around. So see you tomorrow at the same time, 11 a.m. GMT. One love. Thank you. Bye.